1, 2, 3. Listen. Hi, Jason Hall here with SocialWay Talks. Today I'm bringing in 3 business owners, Robb Bailey, Tran, and Nik Robbins. Today's episode, we're talking about the challenges, sacrifices, and wins that the business owners face every day. Stick around, you don't want to miss it. Hey guys, I'm Jason Hall from FiveChannels Marketing, digital marketing agency. We have put together a team of specialist individuals to generate leads and sales for our clients. Tell me a little bit more about you. Why don't you start?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Nik, and I run a multi-7-figure advertising agency, co-founder of B-Top Local. We work with over 100 medical doctors all across the country. We got about 20 people on our staff now. Only been around 2 years, so it's been a fun couple of years. Yeah.
My name is Robb Bailey. We own a agency called Fitclub Accelerator. Accelerator. And what we do is we help gyms and fitness studios grow their membership each and every month using our proprietary platform. So similar to Nik, we actually have helped over 240 fitness locations just this year alone. And we work with some of the top franchises in the nation and in Canada as well.
My name is Tran, co-founder of a digital marketing agency, L&B Media Group. We're based out of the Bay Area. And our main focus is helping professional service providers. So mainly B2B space, right, with their lead gen and client acquisition. And we've been doing that for, almost 5 years now. You know, kind of been in different spaces, but in terms of different verticals, but this is kind of where we landed. And the fun thing about it is, there's 2 sides, right? They have their lead gen, their client opportunities, but then also for them, most of them are smaller firms, so the branding and awareness, that stuff is a big play also. So it's a fun little place to be in. Our background's been in direct response, so we do some direct mail as well, right? So it's just kind of like been the backbone of the agency when we first started.
Tell me about your journey. How did you get to where you're at right now?
Just getting into marketing. When I first started, it was just more, I wanted a way, I was in the real estate space, right? The real estate investing world. So for me, my competitors were doing $5,000 to $10,000 a month in direct mail.
Okay.
I was a kid fresh out of college, right? I knew I could do it, but the problem was I didn't have the extra $5,000 to $10,000 every month. So it led me to online marketing.
Okay.
Right? Because I needed to be able to level the playing field. And what I found in learning that skill set was every business, like the lifeblood of any business, as we know, is just marketing and sales. If you don't have lead flow, then what's going to happen, right? There's no revenue, nothing else happens in the business. So that was really where I saw that skill set and empowering, being able to learn that skill set and that talent. I wanted to be able to create a business and help other people do the same thing.
So I actually got started helping small businesses inside of the business, like internally. And what ended up happening was I worked with my friend's surf shop. They have a local surf shop chain here in San Diego. And a very fun industry to work in, but very much an antiquated industry in a lot of ways. Very old school retail, right? But what ended up happening was my friend needed a lot of help with the online space because when I was helping them, a lot of the big brands were going direct to consumer. So they said, well, they're kind of cutting us out. That's where we make all our money. And the recession was also happening. So I really had like some very difficult challenges that I was trying to solve with them. And I did everything from picking and packing and shipping to setting up their e-commerce store and photography, doing photography for the product and everything like that. Shifted gears a little bit, and I found that there was more and more people looking for this type of help. So I shifted gears to the services industry and started helping a ton of service providers and other types of clients. So that's how I got my start. I started a 7-figure agency, made every mistake in the book, totally failed, opened and closed within...
You totally learned.
Totally learned, yeah.
Totally learned.
That's right. Failed forward through it, learned a lot. Had a ton of corporate clients. Everyone's like, oh, you're doing so great, right? I mean, but on paper, the margins were this thin. So closed that down, started a Facebook advertising agency, and then eventually fell into the fitness niche. So that's been...
And here we are.
And here we are.
We'll learn more.
Yeah.
Nik.
I was just a bit of a mess probably about 10, 12 years ago when I was in college. A lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol. Was really lost in life. And I'll never forget it. I got a DUI. It was the 3rd time I'd been arrested in like 18 months. And I was given a book by Eckhart Tolle called A New Earth. completely changed my entire life. After that, I fell in love with personal development. Started reading all the Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. So like that was like really when my entrepreneurship journey really started, because that's really what opened and lit a fire in me. Because I was reading all these guys talk, Les Brown, talk about like you can take control of your life, you can do anything you want in life, you can build these. So that was huge, and they really started planting those seeds. I kind of got my act together. Took 7 years to get my 4-year degree. 2 different colleges, 6 community colleges, 2 universities in 3 states. So, but I got it done, right? And fortunately, I got actually into the NBA, which was a dream of mine. I'm a diehard sports fan. So I got a job with the Sacramento Kings, inside sales over there, working in sales. A lot of fun. And that's really where I became like, a man, really started stepping up, becoming a leader, and was promoted to the NFL actually after that with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Florida. So that was a lot of fun. Transferred over there and, left everything that I knew, right? I never left, home, California. Best experience of my life. Great mentors, a lot of fun. And I quickly went to work extremely hard. But the whole time I was working, I had Les Brown in the back of my head, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, take control of your life. And the more I got deeper into the corporate structure, the more I was like, man, this isn't for me. And I am a very quick decision maker. I just jump off cliffs. I got a saying, burn the boats if you want to take the island, And within 2 weeks, I decided to quit the Buccaneers and move from Tampa, Florida on the beach to Utah, where I'd never been. I was told it didn't snow there. He lied to me. He lied. Yeah. I was like, whatever, I've never been. He's like, oh, it's only the mountains. I'm like, okay, I've seen that, whatever. Didn't snow much in Reno either. But it's, so I moved quick, literally burned the boats. It shocked everyone because I was, supposed to be the next manager and the golden, they liked me a lot at $1. I really liked my mentors, my managers. And moved across the country and decided to try this whole digital marketing thing. Knew nothing about advertising, nothing about marketing. About a year and a half after I'd moved, 10 months later, we were doing over $100,000 a month, and it just exploded since then. I mean, I found something that I liked, went with, and just bam.
Here's something that I read in this book called Rework. I love this. He said that we shouldn't use the word entrepreneur anymore. We should use the word starter. And if you read that chapter, it's more like an essay. It's actually not a chapter. But to me, that really struck as true because the word entrepreneur means many different things to so many different people. And when you asked that, I don't know if you noticed, but you said, I went out and started something.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is the moment where, because you started helping other people and bringing more value, and that's what started your business, essentially, was you were bringing value when you found the Facebook ads could bring more value than you were charging to your clients. Boom. That's the arbitrage that everybody talks about, right? So to me, I don't even like that word anymore. It's just gotten so just obliterated. Yeah. And it's almost got it's so hip now that it's like heading the other direction. It's like, I don't even really want to be called that anymore. Yeah. What I want to be recognized for is starting something that's helped more gym owners this year than almost any other business that I know.
When do you feel that you were that starter, that creator?
I guess the moment that I did the same as Nik and stopped being an employee at my friend's surf shop and went and started to help more people than just one business. Yeah. And trust me, I learned a lot there and I'm very appreciative of it, and I'm actually going to their house right after this.
So Nik went through a dry spell for 10 months during that transition. What about you?
So I helped, I want to say, between 6 and 8 people that first year. And there were recurring clients, monthly clients. But that was 6 to 8 times more than I was helping the year previous. Right. So I got a much slower start than that, to be honest, even though he struggled very, very much so for 10 months and then, kind of slingshotted forward. Mine was a little more gradual. But the impact that I had I was not happy with at my first agency that I started, although I got a slower start. The impact that I was having, I was not happy with. In other words, I wasn't waking up every morning going I know I helped that person or those people progress their business. Mm-hmm. Even though we were getting great results for them, I was obsessed with the results. But I was like, there's something that I'm not, there's something missing that I'm not connecting on. And what I found was that I love getting up every day and going, yesterday their business is better off in a very measurable way, and sometimes in intangible ways as well, but I want the tangible and the intangible part of that. And at my old agency, we were just trying to do too many things for too many different kinds of people, bottom line. So it was like going to, you ever been to the Cheesecake Factory?
Of course.
The menu is the size of a Bible. It's like, how can you be good at making all that food if...
But it is, they are.
I know, somehow they are, right? There's not many restaurants that have that big of a menu though, so that's,
Yeah, it's nuts.
you know,
It's a
yeah,
book.
the average, it's just the same thing in the agency world. Most places are known for serving great sandwiches, or great pho, or great, you know, ramen, or whatever the case may be, you know? They can't, it's very, very rare that you see someone who does it all very, very well. And even in that case, I would argue that you don't get the best pasta in the world at the Cheesecake Factory. It might be good, but go down to my buddy's restaurant down here in Little Italy, and all they do is pasta. Man, hard to beat, right? So that was the missing element for me, where I was like, okay, I'm getting started, right? I started something, that's cool. But then you start to realize, like, well, this is what's in it for them and what's in it for me. And I think the longer that you're an entrepreneur, the more you start to figure that out, and you get more specific. You do fewer things,
I've learned once
things.
we reach a certain level, once we reach, you know, we get higher and higher certain goals, the best way to make us feel better is by giving back, right? You feel even more rewarded by giving back. So when you're going through your daily processes of just systems and taking care of the client and looking at ROI, you weren't feeling it until you started giving back to the client.
I want to touch on specializing. The reason why we floundered for those 10 months was because I was trying to sell websites, SEO, graphic design. I didn't know shit, man. I was sucked. Like, come on. Like, I was a solo guy wearing a suit. I was wearing a suit, doing all this stuff that, you know, wasn't me. And as soon as we specialized, we sold nothing but Facebook ads. In fact, this is how specialized we got. We sold one ad and one landing page. They both were shitty, by the way, but they worked. You know, they produced results. They looked shitty. If I showed them to you, it's embarrassing. One ad and one landing page for one medical condition. It was for treating osteoarthritis of the knee using hyaluronic acid injections. And that made $1 million. That got out to over $100,000 a month because we found something so weaponized, so specialized, and it worked so good for our scalability, for our scaling. That's why we scaled so fast, because I knew how to market these guys. No one was getting a cold outreach message saying, I advertise for hyaluronic acid. No one knows what that is, you know? Like,
you're the only one.
Yeah. So it's so important to stay specialized and focused. You can look at adding more stuff later as you evolve your team, as you evolve your services, right? But you can't be good at everything at the beginning. And focus, man. The lack of focus is terrible in this world. It's insane with the distractions. So I always tell them, specialize, focus, niche, get really good at one thing, and it'll help a few people, right? And then you can go and help more, you know? Because we tend to think that we need to help so many people to make a good living. It's like, no, you can do really well helping 100 people, 50 people, you know? If each one of those gives you $3,000 a month, that's, you know, that's good money for a lot of people, right? You know, and obviously I know a lot of us have bigger goals and ambitions. We got to start somewhere. And so we tend to think we need to help everybody, but the truth is if we can just find a really small group of people, we can make a huge impact on their lives, and we can also make a tremendous impact on our lives.
For me, in terms of, like, say, career path, same thing with personal development, just like you guys, right? I mean, I was blessed. It was mindset, definitely limiting beliefs. This is what happened in college. I got a double major because I had no idea what I wanted to do. It took me 5 years too, right? And it was because I didn't know what I wanted to do leading up to fourth year. Parents like, what's the next move? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go get a job? Are you going to graduate school? I was like, I'm gonna fucking go to Italy. I'm gonna leave.
Why Italy?
Because this is why, right? I was like, what were the language requirements? None. GPA requirement, crushed it, no problem. I can always go to Asia, and my whole mindset was, Asia will always be traditionally cheaper than Europe. Why not have school pay for it?
Nice.
Right? Cool. Signed up for that. No problem. Went there. And that was really when I found myself, because there's no excuses. Couldn't go back to mom. Couldn't go back and see the homies. Right? You're thousands of miles away. You're here for a while. Like, you need to freaking figure some things out, right? At the time, my mentor gave me 2 books, right? How to Win Friends, Influence People, Think and Grow Rich, and my third one was Cash Flow Quadrant, right? And I think the biggest thing for me at that time was I realized that I was chasing a paycheck. All those paths led to the stereotypical $100,000 or more, but I'm like, wait a minute, if I go down this attorney path, right? High rate of divorce, alcohol, drug abuse, I don't want to be in a suit all day, didn't want that lifestyle. And I started looking at that path, right? And kind of reverse engineering, like the whole adage of if you want something, find someone that has it, right? And go do what they did, or empower them and ask them to come help and guide you, right? So that's really what, for me in college, was when I realized, like, dude, I don't want to do those traditional things, right? But still need money. So had to get a job as I was working on the hustle, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Worked for corporate for 6 months. And the same thing as what Nik had said, when I was reading kind of like your evolution inside of the corporation, right? Talking to my manager, who was a great friend. He was like, oh, you think you're gonna make 60,000 in 2 years from doing this? No, here is your pay scale. And then I also looked at what they were willing to allow us to invest in terms of like enrichment. No personal development was allowed. It was all just technical stuff, right? You want to do Excel? No problem. Microsoft? Cool. Oh, you want to go to that personal development class on how to better yourself? No way. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is it. I can't do that, right? I'm not going to be able to thrive and live and be able to serve as I want to, you know? I want to educate, but I knew that system wasn't for me either, right? So it was really that point where I was like, I think I know. I took a step back and tried to understand what success was to me, and in life, in other areas, what I had to do, or what I did to become successful. And what I found was there was structure, there was people in the trenches with you, right? So there's community, there's coaching. So those are the things I wanted to pull back into my life.
You know, so many people wake up or don't wake up and they hit that snooze button. They got excuses for this and problems with this, and they can't get through that, or they don't have the resources for this. What is it? What is it that motivates you, that spark every day? What gets you every day that you're up, you're going, you're ready to start taking care of your clients?
You know, I'm reading a book now called Permission to Succeed, right? Something that my coach has suggested. Mm. And just in the first part of it, it talks about, you know, everyone talks about having a big why, right? If your why is big enough, your why makes you cry, right? It'll keep you up at night. It'll fuel you through the what, right? But what it also says, and it's part of the book, is like, you also have to understand what your why nots are, right? How compelling is it for you to be away and not do something? Right? And it was interesting because I sat back and I was like, what the heck does that really mean, right? So as I was kind of understanding, like, if your why fuels you, your why not should be so compelling that you're avoiding that at all costs too. You're intentionally staying away from those why nots, right? So for me, it's like not just mediocrity, but it's more of my kids, my family, and being able to provide, like, what I enjoy about the professional services, like the people that we help and our clients, is it's more than just a paycheck. It's not a bottom line for a large corporation, right? I mean, that extra funding, those new clients that they onboard, helping their business, helps to pay a mortgage, put someone through college, have another vacation for a family. So it's like, if I can do that by serving and helping other people, I want that for my kids too. I want to show them through example that by doing this, taking action, like, you can have whatever you want.
It's got to be easy to wake up in the morning and just get into it.
It's so easy, man. Yeah. I just, I'm superhuman, first of all. Let's get that out there. No, it's actually quite the opposite. Sort of along the same strokes as Tom. Like, when I was growing up, I would have to sell 2 boxes of candy bars to make the baseball team, to fund my part of the baseball team, or whatever the thing is, right? Mm-hmm. Football season came around, they were like, you're required to raise at least $200 for this charity, right, to make the team. And I was like the kid who had like a route along my street. And I was like, so you guys know I'm coming back, like every 2-3 months it's gonna be something else, right? Like, so they were trained. I mean, I trained my elderly neighbors would buy candy bars and they'd be like, here, you can eat the candy bar, but I'll pay, I'll buy one from you. Yeah. And so I had my little route. And so even from a young age, it was like, you've got to go and get what you want. So you want to play baseball with all your friends? Cool, all you have to do is this, right? And I'm like, great. So I just thought it was normal. And then I got to middle school and high school, and everybody else's parents were, taking their dates to prom and stuff in the tuxedo or whatever. And I was like mowing lawns on Sundays to get the money to go rent my tuxedo. And so, I think both of my parents, because they were both like unashamed, like unabashedly telling me, like, you just do this and you can get that. And that just trained me growing up to like not assume, not take anything for granted, I guess. And so then I got to college and I'm working like 3 jobs and taking student loans because I was like, this is how it goes, right? And then there's other kids who are like, oh, we're gonna go on spring break and go on this cool trip. Let's go to Cabo, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like bussing tables. And so I like just did all these steps. I mean, way harder. I mean, trust me, there was days where I was like, I don't want to do this. For sure, all my friends are going on a surf trip or going on vacation or whatever. I want to be there. Trust me, I do. But after college, that's when I really found that out there in the real world, that was the difference maker for me, to wake up and just be like, if I want something, it's there. but I have to get up and go
And
get
you
it.
never want to see that passed again. So that's what motivates you.
Yeah, I'm okay having that passed again. Trust me. Like it's funny because our business by all accounts is successful. But there's a new set of problems with it. Like if anyone thinks that Elon Musk is having a good day when he gets blown up and gets removed from the board or whatever, like that, it's difficult. And that guy is uber successful, right? So it's not that the problems go away. It's that the skill that you develop is how to handle the problems and how to still go out there and get what you want and get past things that most people don't have the skill set to get past.
Yeah.
That's what it is to me.
Yeah, love it. Easy question, Nik.
Yeah.
Easy.
Man.
You're already smiling, man.
Yeah, so this one's big. I'm driven. In my opinion, the problem with the world is there's this scarcity mindset that there isn't abundance resources out there. So that's why everyone's so selfish and such a jerk to each other. It's like if we all just focused on providing value, it would be huge. Like my grandmother was murdered by a family member for $12,000. Like that's it, and that is just strikes a massive chord. I don't want anyone to have to go through something like that, And so you combine those two, both from the psychology point of things and then learning how to create value. I mean, man, I get to just run and I'm going every single day. I mean, there's a lot of things I do to manufacture that energy.
Right.
I always tell people, because they ask me, how are you so driven? What's going on? And I'm like, dude, you got to get a chip on your shoulder, man. Like the problem, the world's, it's too easy right now. Like what happens if you don't do shit? And so you have to manufacture this urgency, right? Like imagine, and I always tell people, who I'm talking with or mentoring or whatever, like imagine there's a gun to your family member's head and you're told to go get a client next week or you're told to go make $1,000. Are you gonna fucking find a client? Yeah, you are, so put that on yourself to go out and do. You have to light this fire every day.
How do you, and be ready to answer, how do you decide on how to spend your time? Where do you think, what matters most to you as your role in the company?
And my specific role, so everything I do right now, what I do is get it so that I can focus on selling and training myself to get better and selling for a company. That's creating content, that's creating videos, that is getting people in the door. I lead the sales side of things, the marketing side of things, and building that brand, right? Building the brand around things, getting people to start following, be attracted to that leader, as Russell Brunson would say.
24 hours in the day, Rob.
Yeah.
Where do you put your time?
Basically there's three major things that I do every single day. Number one is helping my team be more strategic with their time. So the very first thing that I do is when I know my team members are actually awake and doing things, by the way, we're all virtual, is I call them or I Slack them and say, tell me what you got on your plate today. And it helps shape their day so that the outcomes that we've all agreed need to happen for a company to grow and for us to fulfill our big promise, they actually happen. So I'll call my GM and I'll say, Betsy, what do you got on your plate today? Great, tell me why. Why do you have X, Y, and Z on your calendar? Why are these the three biggest things that you're gonna get done today? And sometimes I pull an audit, like a hot route, and I'm like, okay, good job, but like, guess what? We need some sales this week, so I want you to shift your focus over here, right? Or I call my partner and I'm like, he's like, I'm shooting content all week. Great, content's important, we all know it's super important, but we're low on sales this week. See where the theme's going? Like, if we're not hitting our sales goals, I redirect the ship, and I call an audible sometimes, and get them redirected on the most important thing for the health of the business. Thing two is I work on systems so that for the rest of the day, I don't have to be doing busy work. So much like Nik said, it's like second to getting a personal assistant. I would say that is the most important thing that you can do is to work on the systems so that the things that recur, the things that happen day in and day out, you're not constantly jumping back in to do.
Can't grow that way.
Yeah. Thing three is I'm very intentional about having some, I call it chill time, but it's actually very strategic in that it's time for me to either work out, read a book, decompress, actually be alone, because with the way that everything's structured with my family and my team, it can very easily turn into, from the time that I wake up until the time that I go to bed, I don't spend any time having time to think or be alone or to relax or anything. And over time, that can kill you. It literally can kill you. And so I've done that before, and I was an effing miserable human.
Right.
And everyone around me was like, Rob,
Something's wrong.
you're the most chill guy we know. Like, why are you such an asshole?
Why so much anger?
Yeah, why so much anger?
Very similar to these guys, sales above all. Sales above all. Right? Sounds familiar? And that's why our coaches will tell you, what are you gonna do? What do you need to do? All those problems are great, right? We have identified that, but what's that one thing that's going to fix that? We need more sales. Great. So how can we do that and do that more efficiently? So with systems and processes and people, right? What else those are the things that we need to leverage in our business. So for us, we're being very mindful of documenting, right? Not only just in terms of content on the outside, but internally as well. Because if you're doing it and you're doing it multiple times, why not just document that? Because it's going to happen over and over again. You can hand that off, right? Outside of that, I think the biggest thing for me is making sure wherever I am, I'm present, right? If it's work, then do that. If it's family, then do that.
I like that.
Right? If it's with my wife or with my kids, be in the moment, because that's going to be gone. That's the most precious commodity that we have is time. Right? Work's always going to be there.
You got it. You were talking about systems and processes. I'm going to switch over to Nik here. There's so much experience in this room. So when it comes to making that big decision, I know the answer. Is it a gut feeling? You just need 10% of the information to make a decision, or do you actually go through, how is this going to impact my business? Do you have a system? Do you have a series of questions that you ask yourself? How do you make the decision when something's going to impact the business, or you got that lucky gut?
I tend to believe that people who are perfectionists are basically just self-conscious. They're afraid of making the mistakes. The key things that I've met amongst all the peers I've seen, 7, 8 figures and beyond, they make decisions fast. They do not need all the information. We can't get all the information.
Right.
Like you can't. And if you sit there and you wait for it, the opportunity's gone. It's lost. You've taken to whoever. You need to be agile. You need to be mobile. And so yeah.
Okay, so gut.
Fast.
So we rip hard on some things. Other things I've learned ripping hard is not a good idea on. Hiring is one of them.
Oof.
Hiring, I've ripped hard. I've hired 5 people in 1 month. Not a single one of those people is still with us. Mm-hmm. So there are certain things that you need to be like unabashedly fierce with, such as like triggering an ad. I mean, there's no reason why you can't rip hard on an ad. Mm-hmm. Go. Like, what are you second guessing this for? If it's 80% of there, like it's been done 20% ago. I think there's a few key areas where you really need to be careful, and I'll give you what those are. So hiring talent. So letting someone into your ecosystem is like, if you brought Freddy Krueger into your household, I mean, that's kind of how you have to, like almost how serious you need to take it. Like, one bad apple can literally spoil the entire thing.
It's medicine. It's either going to work for you or it's going to kill you.
And the problems that a bad apple in your team, first of all, there's the things that you can see, but it's like an iceberg. The 90% of it is underneath the surface.
So true.
Of how it affects your organization. So let me just make a blanket statement with people. People, your friends, who you hang out with. Do not rip hard on that, to steal your term. Like, I would be extremely careful who you give your time to, who you allow into your household, who you allow into your business circle.
That's a whole book.
No, serious.
Who you hang out with is everything.
Yeah,
most important
absolutely.
thing in life.
Yeah, and so I am intentionally slow about that across the board with people, new people. And I mean, can't tell you how much better our business has gotten, because we've gotten pickier and pickier and pickier and pickier. And if someone's not a good fit and they're in our program, I refund them and kick them the fuck out. No apology. I'm just like, look, you're not a good fit. I can't serve you. Sorry. But I'm happy to connect you with someone who might be able to serve you better.
Your competition.
Yeah, totally.
Give them to your competition so they deal with that weight.
And at first, when I first started in business, I wanted to help everybody. But this is the thing that you find is you can't help everybody with everything. In fact, the harder you try to do that, the fewer people you serve.
As you guys both had said, it depends on like what that situation is, what the outcome is, what are the risks involved. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes I'll have a conversation, I have a business partner, so that's the fun part about it, right? But it just filters first, right? How much of an impact, what's the risk? And if it's not that bad and we know on the other side it's just data, let's run. We'll rip that all day,
I want to double down really quick, because he nailed it. You can't hire fast. That's what's killed me most of the time, and I'll be straight up and transparent. I hate the hiring process. I'm very much a sales guy. Let's go, let's make it happen. But that has cost me hundreds of thousands, if not more, millions, in just 2 years of wasted time, bad apples, terrible people. So I want to amend it. Go on everything fast except hiring, because you're 100% right.
I love it.
Because that shit's killed me. Because it's so true and it's hard. Hiring's the hardest part of the game. It really is. Building that culture and team when you're at the leader at the strategic level. We've got 20 people. Finding good people is very difficult. So
I love it, guys. There is so much knowledge in this room. I always say you don't know what you don't know, so I love picking your brains. Thanks for stopping by, and let's do this again.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
All right.
Fellas.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.